karibu tena katika uchaguzi mwaka wa 2022 na jinsi tulivyokuwa tumekuahidi ni kwamba tutakuwa tunakuletea matokeo na matukio jinsi yanavyotokea katika maeneo yote nchini Kenya, pamoja na mijadala ya uchambuzi wa kina tukishirikiana na wachanganuzi wa masuala ya kisiasa. Na leo hii studioni tuko naye mgeni ambaye ni mchanganuzi wa masuala ya kisiasa na hususan anaegemea upande wa amani, anafahamika kama Daniel Juma, akiwa mkurugenzi mkuu wa Global Peace Kenya. Na leo hii itanibidi nichanganye ndimi na kuzungumza lugha ya Kiingereza. Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel, for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so let us start with the way the process for voting in Kenya was administered by IEBC. From where you sit, what is your take on the way IEBC administered the process of voting this time around?
Okay, so thank you. First, I want to thank you for having me into your interview, Mwanzo TV. Yesterday was a very historic day for our country. We went through our 12th general elections, and this election, as you know, is very, very critical because it's a transition election. And I really must congratulate the Kenyan people for, having gone out of their way to express their will through the vote. And also the IEBC, the staff of IEBC, led by Chairman Chebukati, who have really, done a lot of work to be able to facilitate the Kenyans to be able to vote in this very, very critical election. So I was I was one of the observers, and the stations opened as early as 6 a.m. in the morning, and the process went smoothly, but not in every polling stations. As you may have heard, we did not have gubernatorial elections in Kakamega and in Mombasa and in West Pokot and other constituencies because of a hitch, relating to the printing of the ballot paper. But other than that, and the fact that the Kim's kit, which is the machine that you use to identify voters, had some technical issues. Not everyone was able to be identified by the Kim's kit. And as you know, the court had made a ruling that the IEBC needs to have the manual backup to be able to facilitate anybody who is not able to be identified with the Kim's kit. I was one of those people who was not able to get my details on the Kim's kit. So I remember I demanded, to be identified by the manual register, but it wasn't done immediately. So I'm one of those Kenyans who are disenfranchised. I was not able to vote. But I am afraid many other people may have been disenfranchised, were not able to vote because of that. And that, I think, was the biggest challenge for the IEBC. And moving forward, and I'm happy that later on they were able to change, to allow people to be identified by the manual backup register, which should be the way, because as you know, technology is good, but technology, is used by the IEBC. IEBC should use technology to make it easy for everyone to be able to vote. But when you let technology, guide you, actually control you, IEBC should control the Kim's kit, not the Kim's kit controlling IEBC. Ni kama kusema kwamba kwa sababu jina lako haiko kwa hiyo Kim's kit, na wewe ni Mkenya na umekuja na kitambulisho umeonyesha wewe ni Mkenya, unakatazwa kupiga kura juu hiyo mashini ambayo wewe hujui imetoka wapi. Imekataa, imekuwa na technical issues, imekataa kurecognize. Sasa hiyo ndio shida mimi nimeona. Itabidi serikali na IEBC tugeuze sheria ili kila mtu ambaye amekuja kwa station kupiga kura apewe hiyo nafasi ya kupiga kura. Mtu asikatazwe kupiga kura kwa sababu mashini ambayo inaweza kuwa na hitilafu imekataa kumrecognize. So that is the only problem that we saw in yesterday's election. But overall, now everything is going on well. IBC is going to do another election in 2 weeks, on 23rd, for Mombasa and Kakamega for the gubernatorial and the other seats. The counting and tallying is going on, as you can see. The result transmission is going on. And one of the things that we are also recommending is that machines should make it easier for results to be transmitted. Na ndio maana unaona wanangojea sana ile hizo form 34B zitoke huko ziletwe physically, and that's why you see it's going to take a long time. Lakini sheria inaruhusu IEBC up to 7 days to be able to give the results of the election. So we are hopeful that this is going to be one of the best elections in our region. Kenya is going to prove once more to the East African region that we are not just the biggest economy in the region, but we are the biggest democracy. As you know, our politics has been vibrant. Sisi siasa yetu imekuwa ni vibrant. Unaona, tuko na hiyo freedom ya kuongea. Umeona, the opposition, Mr. Ruto, he's free to talk. He's criticizing the government, and that is the kind of democracy, the kind of freedom we want to export to the whole region. Nataka Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, wawe na hiyo freedom, ya kidemokrasia. Hatutaki kusikia mtu anashikwa kwa sababu kuna hiyo tofauti la kisiasa na vitu kama hizo.
Let's talk about the move by IEBC to suspend elections in Kakamega and Mombasa. There was allegations, or there was some of the gubernatorial candidates in those counties alleged that it was by design. What is your take?
You can never know. As a member of the Kenya Daima, which is the platform of peace that we have been using to be able to preach peaceful election and peaceful transition, we have been encouraging Kenyans to trust the IEBC. Kama hakuna hiyo uaminifu, on the polls body, then it is difficult for people to trust the result that is going to come out of that. And so I'm one of the proponents. I've been urging Kenyans, to trust, the IEBC. And I want to believe that the explanation that Mr. Chibukati gave, that it was the error came from the printer, the Lycos company that printed these in Greece, that was their problem. And they announced that the Lycos will take, will take all the costs, of reprinting and transporting, so that the Kenyan people do not have to pay extra, for these elections. So, but of course, there are people who believe that that was a conspiracy, to be able to suppress the voter turnout, in those two areas, ambaye sana sana watu wa Azimio, na hizo sehemu mbili ni ngome ya Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Honorable Raila Odinga, and they have been saying that this was an attempt to suppress voter turnout in Kakamega, which has more than 1 million, registered voters, and also Mombasa, So I don't want to say which is which, but hizo ndio ziko, lakini IBC came up with an explanation. As Kenyans, we have to know that not everything, conducting an election as big as this one is not perfect, and you're gonna come up with you're gonna have technical hitches. But this is one of those hitches that should have been avoided, because IBC had a long time to prepare for this election, actually 5 years. It would have been better if these, even though we import these papers from Greece, it would have been better for us to check. We check everything before, once they're delivered. Tuone kwamba hizi makaratasi ziko sawa. Not to wait until the eve of election. That's when we discover that the paper have a problem. So I think hapo kulikuwa na changamoto kidogo, and we need to change. Na pia we need also to have a backup moving forward. we have printers in Kenya, in Tanzania, in the region. Kama, hii karatasi maybe kidogo ziko na shida kidogo. I mean, we would have just ordered, those papers from local printers here, or in Uganda or Tanzania, so that we don't need to wait for another 2 weeks before we do our election. So those are the problems that I think we need to have. We need to avoid in future elections. Yeah.
Let's talk about the process of tallying. Currently, we are seeing results streaming from different parts of the country to the National Tallying Center. And we all know the way the two main candidates are faring according to those numbers. What do you make of those numbers?
If you look at the opinion polls basically showed that it's a very close election. It's a very, very close election. The two candidates have done a good job of presenting their manifestos to the people of Kenya. And this is the first election that is actually about issues. Both candidates are coming up with issues that face the people of Kenya, mainly being economic issues. Ukiangalia, mrengo wa, hustlers, they're talking about bottom-up economic model. And also the Azimio is also talking about how to address the man down there. They're coming up with 6,000 shillings, to give those who cannot be able to afford life. So it is a very, very close election, and turnout, and we have said before that the person who manages to get the best turnout in their stronghold will prevail in this election. For example, if Ruto was able to get big turnout in Rift Valley and Central, then this election was his, but unfortunately, you have seen the turnout is barely 60% turnout. And therefore, because we don't have many people coming out, and if you look overall, we have almost 10 million people, actually around 8 million, who did not come out to vote. So that alone is a big problem. And then I'm hoping that at the end of the day, we can learn from this lesson, and we are able to, come up with the better ways of making Kenyans come out and see the importance of voting. But the way they're going, it can go either way. As Kenyans, and we have been encouraging as members of Kenya Daima, you have been telling Kenyans, you only exercise your right to vote, and let the IBC count the votes. Na yule ambaye atachaguliwa ndio atakuwa rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, atakuwa rais wa kila mtu. Na kwa Swahili tunasema asikubali kushindwa si mshindani.
When it comes to voter apathy, what can you attribute to the low voter turnout witnessed in the exercise?
Yeah, voter apathy is a real problem. As you know, we have big bunch of young people who are dealing with economic issues. They don't have jobs, and previous governments have failed actually to provide real solutions to the problems of affecting the common man. And we have voted. We keep voting. And I know some people are asking, why do I need to vote if this vote does not translate into economic benefits for the people? Every election is an opportunity, for the people to actually gauge the success of the government that they voted for previously. But unfortunately, we vote these governments, the problems still persist. If you look at the issues that we are dealing with the issues of public debt, issues of inflation. Sasa unaona bei ya unga imeenda juu, petroli imeenda juu. Sasa many people are dealing with issues of what to eat, the food to eat. Some of them do not see the need of coming out to vote because ni kama wameshachoka. Kwa hivyo wasiwale wanasema punda amechoka. Sasa hauni haja kwenda kupanga laini. Alafu watu wakishachaguliwa, pengine hata kushughulikia zile mashida ambazo wananchi wanaziona kila siku.
And And then we've seen a section of leaders coming out to concede defeat, even before IEBC declares the different winners in different categories.
Yes.
So based on that, can you paint for us a picture of how the next government is going to look like?
The next government is going to be a government that is, we're going to have a strong government, and also we're going to have a strong opposition. As you know, we have not, since the current government has co-opted the opposition in what they're calling the handshake. Huh? So, you know, there has been a lot of, you know, lack of accountability in some of the problems that are caused by, you know, the current government. So I am seeing in the next government, of course, whoever wins is going to have to do with a very, very strong opposition. They are not going to govern easily. You know, for them to govern easily, they'll have to give and take on certain issues. So I think these, the way people are voting, the way people, you know, the new government will have to concede and give out, you know, also listen to some of the manifestos that have come from the opposition, you know, politicians, so that this nation can be able to move together. But since you spoke about concession, kwa sasa kila mtu ambaye anashiriki kwa hii uchaguzi anajua zile kura ambazo amepata. You know, at this moment, if you see the ones conceding, they already know, because wako na tallying center zao, and hizo forms ambazo zimekuja from tallying center, kila mtu wako nazo, and the IEBC allowed everybody, including the media, to be able to tally. And you see the results here are announced at the polling station. So at this moment, even though you see what is streaming, kila mtu anajua yule ambaye ameshinda ashajua ameshinda, yule ambaye hajashinda ashajua hajashinda. So for now I want to congratulate those ones who are conceding, because they already know. Ameangalia akasema enyewe hapa sijashinda, hakuna haja ni you know, ni katae, you know, matokeo. And that's what we've been saying. We have been telling these politicians that we want you to have 2 speeches ready in our campaign for Kenya Daima. Uwe na ile speech ya victory speech na ile concession speech, because wakati unaenda you know, kwa mashindano ujue unaweza shinda na unaweza shindwa. So at this rate I would want to call upon everyone, because they know wako na telling center yao. Kama unajua kura zako hazijafika zile ambazo zinawezesha wewe kushinda, it is better to come out now and concede defeat and urge your followers to work with the person who has won. So everyone knows whether they have won. You know, but as you know, there are some people who, when they win, when they lose, they want to say that you know, they want to just stick there. You saw even in America, you know, Donald Trump lost the elections, and you know, he said that he won. You know, mpaka sasa Donald Trump amekataa kubali kwamba alishindwa. So this is the problem, and in democracy, kama if we cannot accept that we lost and we concede, it sets a very, very bad trend. And that's why I'm very, very proud of those today who have considered defeat. You know, Langata MP, Nixon Korea, who is my friend. You know, I've seen other MPs, you know, Kipiri MP, who have already conceded. This is the way to go. And I want also the presidential candidates. They tell us, look at your own numbers. Ujue umeshinda ama unashinda. Wachana na hii ambayo inaendelea kwa mtandao. Wewe tuambie umeshinda ama hujashinda. Kama hujashinda, it's better to come out and say, look, mimi nimeona hizi namba zetu, hii uchaguzi mimi nimepoteza, nitajaribu tena mwaka wa 2027. Yes.
Na hapo kwa wagombeaji kuweza kusalimu kwamba wameshindwa. Katika chaguzi za hapo nyuma kumekuwa na viongozi wale ambao wanashindwa lakini hawataki kubali kwamba wameshindwa. Mwaka huu imekuwa ni tofauti. From where you, as in your view,
yes,
what does that tells us about the whole process, and also as Kenyans, in terms of maybe growing in our democracy?
It's called political maturity. Politics requires that we have to be team players. And when you go into politics, you must accept to play by the rules. Going into a competition, you cannot go into a competition with the mind that you have to win. If you really love your country, then you have to keep it at the back of your mind that you can win or you can lose. Okay? Now, previously, of course, we have had people who, never wanted to accept defeat. But that was mainly because of the problems within the electoral system. The IBC, had issues to do with trust. And when you see that happening, then the competitors do not trust, ile matokeo ambayo imetoka kwa IBC hawatakuwa na imani nao because of the process. And you have seen also when the issues went to court, 2013 they went to court, the court ruled. 2017 you saw they went to court. Then court ikabadilisha matokeo. So you cannot then blame them. But what we are saying in this election, that if you have a problem with the election, it should be adjudicated in the court of law. We don't want any politician to adjudicate these election issues on the streets. If you take it to the streets, wale ambao wanaumia ni watoto wetu, ni vijana. Huwezi sema sisi tumeshapigia kura, alafu nataka mimi sasa tena nishike mawe, nishike mshale, niende nikupiganie ili sasa wewe tena uchaguzi. Hiyo sisi kama Wakenya tumekataa. We have said no this time. We will do, what we are calling Swahili. Nitatenda wajibu wangu. Nipige kura kwa amani, alafu nikishapiga kura mimi nitakubali matokeo. Na tunaambia wanasiasa pia election pigwa, matokeo zimetoka, wakubali matokeo, na yule ambaye unashinda na matokeo aende mahakama. Mahakama yetu iko na uwezo, iko na nia ya kutengeneza hii maneno ili siwe na shaka. Our courts, Baraza just ruled against a sitting president in the last election. So there is no need of us being afraid of going to court. If we have a problem, take your issues to court. The court will listen to you and they will solve the issues. Wachana na wananchi wameshakuwa na mzigo mkubwa, wamekupigia kura, wacha waendelee na kazi yao, waendelee kulipa ushuru ili walipe pesa ambayo itagharimia gharama ya hii serikali ambayo itakuja.
Then we've witnessed a lot of fake news going around in social media, concerning the numbers so far. And some of those numbers are being posted by even party officials from different parties in Kenya. So from where you sit, where or can you tell us the mandate of IEBC and what political parties and even citizens can do when it comes to using the forms that are being posted on IEBC portal?
The IEBC itself had announced that this election they wanted to be transparent, and they said that kila mwanasiasa awe na agent wake hapo, achukue picha ambayo hizo results, alafu you can have them. You can have their own tally. So the IEBC itself allowed the politicians, the candidates, to tally their own results, and they also allowed the media to be there to see, because the results in this election is declared at the polling station, So what I don't know, most of these, the ones who have been announcing, because IBC kusema fine, ukishakuwa na results, that's what your results utafanya nao nini. So, but what they said is that ukuwe na result lakini usitangaze. That's what I think they did. But since we are in the era of social media, if I've done my own tally and naona niko mbele, naona wengi wao washaanza kuziweka kwa social media. So that was to be expected because the IBC already allowed it. But kusema kweli atakuwa ni ile matokeo ambayo itatangazwa na IBC after verifying all the form 34A's and B's that are coming from the polling station. They'll be physically verified. zile ambazo ziko ndani ya portal ya IEBC, watacompare waone kama hiyo ndio hii, alafu sasa wawe na hiyo declaration, official declaration of results. Sasa kila mtu ana uhuru wa kutangaza tu, lakini ile msema kweli itakuwa ni ile matangazo ambayo itatangazwa na yule chairman wa IEBC.
And then this election attracted a lot of observers and media fraternity from the international community. We saw a lot of observers coming into in this country just to come and make sure that they witness and tell the world if the process was free and fair. What does that means to Kenya when it comes to its relationship with the international community?
Kenya is a very, very important country within the international community. We within the region, we are the biggest economy in the region. The European countries, the Western nations have a lot of interest in Kenya. Most of them use Kenya as the base, to reach their, the region. And so, being the nation that has what you're calling, geopolitical significance, those nations who are sending observers have interest in the peace and stability of this country. Even the EAC have a lot of interest. When we had post-election violence in 2007, 2008, the neighbors had a problem because the goods coming from Mombasa, passing through Nairobi, were not able to reach Uganda. So rightfully, the nation that are sending the observers have a keen interest. They want us to have stability. They do not want this election to be another cause for violence, and that's one of the reasons why we are very, very hopeful as non-state actors to be able to have worked, in giving civic education to our people, so that we demonstrate to the region that this country is ready. We are ready to go. We are democratically mature. We are a vibrant democracy, and this time, the international community will see that Kenya has decided that they're going to do this election, we're going to do a transition, a political transition every 10 years that is peaceful and credible. And we are asking our East African brothers, while here transition, we want to see countries like Uganda conduct elections, have transitions, have term limits so that you are able to do what? You're able to make everyone participate in your democracy. Yeah.
And then Kenyans were so excited when the presidential results started streaming in. And we could see that from the way they have been engaging in social media. As a peace advocate in Kenya, and also from the way you have been sensitizing Kenyans when it comes to peace, what do you anticipate after these elections, or after Wafula Chebukati, the IEBC chair, announces the winner of the presidential race?
I foresee that within, I think, very, very soon, maybe in the next 24 hours, most likely even tomorrow, depending on the number of forms that Chebukati will receive, I think we will already see the trend, how the trend is going. So either way, we are ready for the presidency of either Raila Odinga or William Ruto, because it can go either way. And Kenyans have already accepted that either one of them can become the president. So as people, whether itakuwa ni Bwana Ruto ama itakuwa ni mzee Raila Odinga, sisi tuko sawa kama nchi. Both of these people have been in government, right? Mr. Ruto is the current deputy president of the republic. He knows how the government runs. Mr. Raila Odinga has been a former prime minister, and he knows how government runs. So both of these men love this country. They love this country. They cannot allow this country to go to the dogs. They were here in 2007, 2008. Actually, they were part of the elections that caused the 2007, 2008. At that time, Raila Odinga and William Ruto were on one side. So having known, having gone through that experience, and having been indicted, by the ICC, they would never want a repeat of what happened. So I see that election itaisha, yule atashindwa atatangazwa, Wakenya watakubali matokeo. Mimi nishakubali that either Raila ama Ruto wakitangaza ni hayo. Yule ambaye atatangazwa atakuwa ni rais wa Jamhuri wa Kenya. So it is up to the leaders who are announced to embrace everyone. So yule ambaye atatangazwa asiwe tu yeye ataangalia tu watu wake, na wajue kwamba if ni Azimio ameshindwa atatangaza mshindi, ajue yeye ni kazi yake ni kuhudumia kila mtu mpaka ile mrengo wa hustlers ambaye hawakumpigia kura. Na kama Ruto atashinda, ajue kwamba yeye atakuwa ni rais wa kila mtu, hata wale mrengo wa blue, Azimio ambaye hawakumpigia kura. Election is just the process of choosing, and then once you choose, you become the president of the Republic of Kenya. Yes.
And then in your view, what is the kind of president that Kenya requires at this time, even without mentioning a name, the kind of a leader that maybe after being elected, he can come in and revive the economy and also make changes in the country so that the lives of Kenyans can improve?
We need a president who can revive the economy. Every politics is about the economy. In America, they say it's about the economy, stupid. We need a president who will be able to solve the issue of our debts. We owe a lot of debts to the international community, to China. So we need a president who will be able to deal with that. We want a president who will be able to grow our revenue base, our taxation. When Kibaki was elected in the year 2002, our tax collection was was less than 400 billion shillings a year. But when he was elected, he was able to widen our tax base. So in the first year of his administration, we were able to realize 800 billion taxes from our own country. So Kibaki demonstrated to us that we can be able to finance our own development. And after that, for a long time, we did not need to borrow from the international community. So actually, the development that you see during the Kibaki era were financed by the Kenyan people. So we want a president who will encourage Kenyans to become economic citizens, to be able to grow this economy. And another important factor is a president who can be able to bring the nation together, who can be able to fight, tribalism, ethnicity, and bring our people together. We need to be a nation that is united, that loves, the way the Tanzanians are. That is the kind of president we need. We need a president who will fight corruption, a president who will be able to fight corruption, stop a few individuals from stealing money that belongs to the people, so that this nation can be able. This is a very rich nation. We are the biggest economy in the region. If we can stop the pilferage of the money, we do not need to borrow money from China or from other donors. We can be able to finance our own development if we stop corruption and we grow our economy.
And then lastly, your message to Kenyans, both in the country and also outside the country, when it comes to peace, even as we wait for IEBC to declare the next president.
My message to Kenyans is, first I want to congratulate all Kenyans for coming out in large numbers, to vote, in this very, very transitional election. You demonstrated that you love this country and that you care about the issues that the country cares about. What I want to ask you is that as we wait for the results to be announced, I want you to continue maintaining the peace and know that of all the candidates that we have, all of them are Kenyan people. And whoever is elected president will become president of the Republic of Kenya. Atakuwa raisi wa kila mtu. Kwa hivyo msiwe na tashwishi. Nyinyi mmetimiza wajibu wenu, mmeshapiga kura. Sasa yule ambaye atashinda atakuwa ndiye raisi wa kila mtu. Na msiwe na shaka, do not be afraid. Because all these people will lead as per the constitution. They have a responsibility to protect life, to grow the economy, to fight corruption, and we will be the benefactor, the ultimate benefactor of the new president, which we're calling the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya.
Yes, thank you so much, Daniel, for coming and also for your insights when it comes to the Kenyan politics.
Thank you for having me.
Naam, umesikia huyo amekuwa ni Daniel Juma akituelezea tu kinagaubaga kuhusiana na jinsi mambo yalivyo nchini Kenya kwa sasa, wakati ambapo Wakenya wanaendelea kusubiria tume ya uchaguzi na mipaka IEBC iweze kukamilisha shughuli ya kujumuisha kura hususan za urais na kuweza kutangaza atakayekuwa anaridhi uongozi kutoka kwa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Ni hayo tu kwa sasa. Mimi naitwa Victor Wanaswa.